Hiya.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, what do you make of that hot mess we just watched on last week on the House floor?
What's been really important about it, and I've actually I don't want to say enjoyed, I don't enjoy that that's happening, but enjoyed seeing as a response to it, is regular people I know who aren't sort of political types, and some of whom vote Republican sometimes, like, oh my God, was that a complete S show? I won't say the words because I don't want to get you in trouble.
Thank you.
They were shocked. We pay attention to stuff all the time, and we know what a group of clowns these guys are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, as I said earlier, watermelons with beards. Or no, that's just J.D. Vance. Sorry.
I believe you said bearded watermelon.
Yes.
It's a bearded watermelon. Yeah, everybody, I ran into J.D. Vance the other day in a store, and I actually held my tongue and didn't say anything mean because he had kids there and my kid was there, and it was tough not to. But in any case,
it's not that we promote this, but just so you know, this just in, a Texas grand jury has declined to indict the dude who tossed 2 cans of beer at Ted Cruz while he was, horning in on the Houston Astros World Series victory parade. I'm not saying you should throw beer can. That guy, just saying. I feel like everyone in the world wants to throw violence. Everyone in the world wants to throw a beer can at Ted Cruz and wants to punch Matt Gaetz. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying it is the bipartisan thing that seems to unite us.
I think the best way to go with that is to quote the old Chris Rock line, which is, "I'm not saying I do it, but I understand."
Accurate.
I think it was about OJ, so it's awful. And point being, Ted Cruz is just. If you collected all the most loathsome characteristics of a combination of maybe humans, slugs, various other bacteria, you get, so I understand why someone would be tempted to throw that at him.
Right.
But
I don't
support violence.
I don't know for certain, but I'm going to guess that Matt Gaetz walks off the floor of the House at least twice a week with a "punch me" sign on his back that some Republican has put there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was happy hour at the 17 and under bar, I think he tried to really get out there. Okay, in all seriousness, it was a joke. It's embarrassing. These people are the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene has an outsized voice in there is just incredible. All of it's everything that we think it is, right? They're awful. They're compromised. How many of them are beholden to foreign dictators or domestic sort of terrorists? Lots of them. Yeah. And it took 15 votes in bribery. And the thing that's so pathetic about this guy, about McCarthy, is he could have been a leader at some point and stood up and said, "You're either going to vote for me or I'm going to go talk to Democrats for the votes, or you're going to either do this or I'm going to..." I mean, he could have threatened. He could have come from a position of strength. And instead, you can't... Can you imagine if you had to go, and I'll say in 2 seconds, and negotiate something, but you knew that any person in the audience, when you're at a sexy liberal thing, could say, "I vote her out. I vote Stephanie off the stage." Just one person. And that's what if Matt Gaetz is having a bad day because no 16-year-olds answered his call, or Lauren Boebert's having a bad day because she failed the GED for the 12th time, or whatever it is, any one of them can oust McCarthy now. There's no way you can lead in those circumstances. It's pathetic.
And you highlighted Eric Swalwell's tweet where he did the picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, George Santos, and Jim Jordan, and it said, "Marge, those little lasers, Santos, I invented them. Jordan, I didn't see anything." And you just said, "We're there. Many Democrats now get the importance of messaging and mockery, that Republicans bombed the high road out of existence 20 years ago. I'm so here for this. Republicans won't know what to do when their garbage is answered with wit beyond Boebert's completed grade level." Yes, Swalwell's one of them. Ted Lieu's one of them, right?
I mean, this is the stuff that I've been yelling about. You guys, other folks, that we used to take the high road and say, "Oh, I'm not going to dignify that with a response," and when they push something, no matter we've learned, right? No matter how much we would think nobody will ever believe that. They do, right? We're killing live babies, so you have to, when somebody with a big microphone, not when it's some loser with no picture in their avatar on Twitter with 2 followers, but when it's somebody who's got a big microphone, you have to answer it. And Swalwell, with that tweet, that's why I said that, because look at all the Democrats that brought popcorn to the floor. And took pictures of that, like Ted Lieu, Ruben Gallego, fantastic, Katie Porter, who I've heard is considering a run for Senate out there.
In Dianne Feinstein's seat, how great would that be?
Yep. Oof. Did you see her, the book she was in there reading? The Art of Not Giving Up?
She's reading a book, The Art of Not Giving Up. She's on camera.
That is a messaging. What Democrats didn't used to get is every time there's a camera on you or a microphone in front of you is a messaging opportunity, is a chance to either attack your opponent or get something across positive about you so they can't define you ahead of time and make up lies about you. It's so gratifying now. Again, not just me or just you. Like, there've been a whole group of us who've been saying, guys, like, you can't
punch back
above it.
Yeah.
We need to communicate. Just because we have all the better ideas, if nobody knows, it's a tree falling in the forest.
Yeah, right? And by the way, you highlighted another one, Lucas Kuntz, who is running against Josh Hawley, and he tweeted on January 6th, Josh Hawley showed us he's a fraud and a coward. Missourians deserve a U.S. senator who's willing to stand and fight. That's why I've decided to take him on. And you just said what an outstanding ad. This is how you message, how you mock those worthy of it, how you don't worry more about decorum than democracy. Bravo. He did another one where it's him running, and he said, as a Marine, Josh Hawley and I both know how to run, but then he just contrasted Josh Hawley being a coward.
Right. The best sort of campaign ads and the best campaign messaging is where you can contrast your biggest strengths with their biggest weaknesses. Kuntz is a guy that ran and joined the military and probably ran from bullets and from artillery and IEDs and whatever to protect us. And Josh Hawley's a guy who gave the fist and then ran away like the little coward he is. And then he's writing a book on manhood. And I've been mocking him for that. And I'm so glad, because these are the things our candidates didn't used to do. They're like, well, that's below me to mock it. No, so Kuntz gets it. And if you're going to win a race in a place like Missouri, if you're going to have a shot as a Democrat, somewhere like that, the way this past campaign, we almost won, in North Carolina. We hung in here in Ohio with Tim Ryan until Peter Thiel dumped in, $30 million. If you're going to hang and win in states that are not really blue states, you have to message like that. You have to, you have to tell them who you are. He's a veteran. He's not a coward like this little wimp, Hawley. Don't let Hawley define himself as a man. Words I can't use on your show.
You just called me out on Twitter and said, don't define her as a football fan, because you said everything Stephanie Miller said except about the Bengals is... Yeah, and someone called me out. They said, "Boy, you talked a lot of trash last year about the Rams. I don't hear so much this year." And I'm like, "No, because I'm a coward."
There have been so many positives on that front that I feel like when I'm bringing them up, you brought up Kuntz, which is great in that against Hawley. You brought up some of the, like what I said about Swalwell and some of these other great kind of, I call them almost next generation Democrats.
Alpha liberals.
Yes, alpha liberal. And then Jeffries, could there be a better choice for speaker right now? I mean, Pelosi is one of the best vote counters ever. We needed somebody, though, who I think could more strongly and acerbically deliver a message that hits the other side. And it's not an attack on Pelosi. She's fantastic at what she does. But this age now, we need somebody, and I think Jeffries is the guy.
Yeah, no,
so I'm really excited about that.
He is. Hey, speaking of messaging, look, it's a love letter. Jeff in Chicago says, Steph and the Moogs, good morning. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Keith, an Uber driver in Chicago who had you on in his car during my ride home after dropping my car off in the mechanic. After a weekend of car problems, repair cost anxiety, it was great to connect with another Steph head. I'll take that as a good omen that I won't have to sell my firstborn to pay to fix my car. A big thank you for all the laughs and all that you and the whole Stephanie Miller crew and regulars provide each morning and to keep the rest of us sane. Wow. Nice job. Cool. Who is it? Keith, Uber driver in Chicago. Nicely done, sir. Fantastic programming selection in your car. Okay. So, because that's, we've talked about this, Cliff, forever and ever, too, is just we are at a disadvantage in progressive media in terms of the volume of getting our message out, in terms of volume of stations, etc. So that's why it goes to your point. It's even more important that the messages we do get out are really powerful, because we don't have the 500 stations and the and we were talking about the mainstream media. Even Ron Klain said we are at the lowest unemployment in 50 years. Do you see that really anywhere in the media? So Wall Street Journal even had a thing. What if inflation went away and no one noticed? Right. Like, we're back down. I mean, it's just, we cannot count on the media, can we?
Will, you have to, part of that, and part of the reason why Democrats need to message so aggressively is exactly that reason. Because mainstream media at this point will only respond to conflict, to what will give them clicks. If you give a speech like he did and you go after Mar-a-Lago, which, among other places that Hakeem Jeffries did in his speech, they'll cover it. But that's what it comes down to, is you have to message even more so because they don't do their jobs. And I always point out there's some terrific exceptions out there, various reporters that are outstanding. But I'd say about 90%, they fail on both sides, everything. And so if you want to get your message through about how awful they are, you've got to say it in an aggressive way. You've got to use language that's a little controversial, so they'll cover it. It has to bring out emotions, either be funny or be whatever. So they'll cover that. Like, you have to hack the fact that like they won't cover anything that's a normal sort of critique.
Yeah.
So you do that, and I think these folks get that, because you pointed out, like, nobody knows. Go to the street, ask 10 people what our unemployment rate is, and if it's and I'm sure half of them would think it's the highest it's been.
3.5. When in our lifetime, right?
Right.
Amazing.
I was taught that in economics class. That's it, like impossible. Like 4% is full employment.